The origins and family of Medusa. In the rich tapestry of Greek mythology, Medusa is one of the most intriguing and tragic figures. To understand her story, it's essential to delve into her origins and family background. The primordial sea deities, Perseus and Ceto. Medusa's lineage can be traced back to the primordial sea deities, Perseus and Ceto. These ancient gods ruled the depths of the ocean and were part of the earliest, even preceding the Olympian gods. Perseus, also spelled Phorkys, was a sea god associated with the hidden dangers of the deep ocean. He often appeared with a serpentine form, representing the mysterious and treacherous aspects of the sea. Perseus was revered for his ancient wisdom. Ceto, his sister and consort, was the goddess of sea monsters. Her beauty was enchanting, but she also embodied the terrifying power of the ocean. Known for her ability to create monstrous creatures, Ceto was a force of nature, representing the sea's perilous and unpredictable aspects. Perseus and Ceto gave birth to a lineage of fearsome and magnificent creatures, including the Gorgons. The Gorgons, Steno, Euryale, and Medusa. Among the offspring of Perseus and Ceto were the Gorgons, three sisters named Steno, Euryale, and Medusa. Each sister had her own unique traits and attributes, making them formidable beings in their own right. Steno, the eldest of the Gorgons, was renowned for her incredible strength and ferocity in battle. She was the most powerful and aggressive of the three sisters. Euryale, the middle sister, possessed a piercing scream that could send shivers down the spine of anyone who heard it. Her scream was not only a weapon but also a manifestation of her raw power and terror. Medusa, the youngest of the Gorgons, was unique among her sisters. Unlike Steno and Euryale, Medusa was born mortal. Despite her mortality, Medusa was blessed with extraordinary beauty. Her long flowing hair was like spun gold, and her eyes sparkled like the Aegean Sea. Her charm captivated all who beheld her, and tales of her loveliness spread far and wide. Medusa's early life. Despite her divine lineage, Medusa lived among mortals and dedicated herself to serving as a priestess in the temple of Athena, the goddess of wisdom and warfare. The temple was a place of sacred tranquility, where Medusa and her fellow priestesses tended to their duties with devotion and reverence. Medusa took her vows seriously, honoring Athena with unwavering loyalty and service. Her beauty, however, was both a blessing and a curse. Many admired her from afar, but her heart remained pure and untouched by worldly desires. Medusa's life in the temple was one of piety and dedication. She performed her rituals with grace and humility, earning the respect of her fellow priestesses and the favor of Athena. Yet, her beauty caught the attention of many, including the gods. Poseidon's infatuation. Among those who were enchanted by Medusa's beauty was Poseidon, the mighty god of the sea. Poseidon, known for his tempestuous nature and insatiable desires, became infatuated with Medusa. Driven by his passion, he pursued her relentlessly. The violation and the curse of Medusa. Medusa's life took a dramatic and tragic turn. Within the sacred walls of Athena's temple, Medusa, renowned for her unparalleled beauty, honoring Athena with unwavering loyalty. Her presence in the temple brought a serene sense of peace and reverence. Poseidon, known for his tempestuous nature and insatiable desires, had become infatuated with Medusa. His attraction to her beauty was overwhelming, and he pursued her relentlessly. Despite Medusa's status as a priestess sworn to chastity, Poseidon's desires knew no bounds. One fateful day, Poseidon's passion reached a boiling point. He cornered Medusa within the sacred confines of Athena's temple, his presence both powerful and menacing. The temple, usually a place of tranquility, was now filled with a palpable tension. Medusa, sensing the danger, tried to escape, but there was no way out. The sanctity of the temple offered no protection against the god's advances. The violation. Poseidon's desire overcame him, and he forced himself upon Medusa. In a moment of violation, Poseidon desecrated the holy sanctuary, a heartbreaking plea that went unanswered. Her innocence and devotion to Athena were shattered in an instant, replaced by a profound sense of betrayal and despair. Athena's wrath. Athena, witnessing this sacrilege, was filled with rage. The violation of her temple was an affront that could not be ignored. Although she recognized Medusa's innocence, the act of desecration demanded retribution. In her divine wrath, Athena decided to punish Medusa, transforming her from a beautiful maiden into a hideous monster. With a gesture, Athena's curse took hold. Medusa's once lustrous hair transformed into a writhing mass of venomous snakes. Her radiant face, once admired by all, became so terrifying that anyone who gazed upon it would be turned to stone. The transformation was both swift and complete, a stark contrast to the beauty Medusa once possessed. Banished to isolation. Banished from the mortal world, Medusa was condemned to live in isolation on a desolate island. Her new existence was one of solitude and survival. Far removed from the life she had known, the island, shrouded in darkness and despair, became her prison. The once beautiful priestess was now a figure of horror, surrounded by the stone remains of those who dared to seek her out. Her sisters, Steno and Euryale, also transformed into Gorgons, joined her in exile. Although they shared some of Medusa's monstrous traits, they did not possess her lethal gaze. Together, the sisters formed a formidable trio, each offering support and companionship in their shared exile. Despite her monstrous appearance, Medusa retained her inner strength and resilience. She adapted to her new life, learning to navigate her surroundings without harming herself. Her sisters, bound by tragedy, became her protectors and confidants. The hero Perseus and his quest to defeat Medusa. The origins of Perseus. In the ancient land of Argos, King Acrisius was deeply troubled by a prophecy that foretold his death at the hands of his grandson. In a desperate attempt to prevent this fate, he locked his daughter, Dano, in a bronze chamber, hoping to keep her childless. However, the mighty Zeus, king of the gods, was captivated by Danae's beauty. He visited her in the form of a golden shower, and from this union, Dano conceived a child. Dano gave birth to a son named Perseus, whose name would soon become legendary. Fearing the prophecy, Acrisius placed Dano and her infant son in a wooden chest and cast them into the sea. The chest drifted to the island of Seriphus, where it was discovered by the kind fisherman Dictys. Dictys and his wife lovingly raised Perseus, teaching him the ways of the world and the skills of a warrior. The challenge of King Polydex. As Perseus grew into a strong and courageous young man, the king of Seriphus, Polydex, took notice of Danae's beauty and desired her for his own. However, Perseus was fiercely protective of his mother and stood in Polydex's way. Seeking to rid himself of Perseus, Polydex devised a cunning plan. He announced that he was going to marry another woman and requested extravagant gifts from all his subjects. Perseus, having no wealth, bravely offered to bring the king the head of Medusa, one of the fearsome Gorgons. Polydex eagerly accepted the offer, believing the task to be impossible. He was certain that Perseus would perish in his quest. Undeterred, Perseus set out on his perilous journey, determined to fulfill his promise and protect his mother from the king's advances. The gods, favoring Perseus and recognizing his noble heart, decided to aid him in his quest. Athena, the goddess of wisdom and warfare, appeared before Perseus and provided him with a polished bronze shield, instructing him to use it as a mirror to avoid Medusa's petrifying gaze. Hermes, the swift messenger god, bestowed upon Perseus winged sandals for swift travel, a magical pouch to safely carry Medusa's head, and an adamantine sword capable of severing her head. With these divine gifts, Perseus felt confident and prepared for the challenges that lay ahead. He thanked the gods for their blessings and embarked on his journey with newfound determination. The journey and encounter with the Greek. Perseus traveled far and wide, seeking the lair of the Gorgons. His first task was to find the three ancient sisters who shared one eye and one tooth among them. These sisters possessed knowledge of the Gorgons' whereabouts. Perseus cleverly stole their eye and tooth, holding them ransom until they provided the information he sought. Desperate to regain their sight, the revealed the location of the Gorgons' lair. Perseus returned their eye and tooth, then set off for the ends of the earth, where the Gorgons resided. The confrontation with Medusa. Arriving at the desolate island where Medusa and her sisters lived, Perseus carefully approached their lair. Using the reflective surface of his shield, he navigated the island without looking directly at Medusa. He saw the statues of those who had fallen victim to her gaze, their faces frozen in terror. As he drew closer, Perseus found Medusa asleep, her snake-filled hair coiled around her. With a swift and daring move, he beheaded Medusa while avoiding her gaze. Careful not to awaken her sisters, blood flowed from Medusa's neck, and from it sprang the winged horse Pegasus and the giant Chrysaor. Perseus placed Medusa's head in the magical pouch and began his journey back home. Perseus's use of Medusa's head. Throughout his journey, Perseus carried Medusa's head as both a weapon and a shield. He was acutely aware of the Gorgon's head's potent power to turn any living creature to stone. As he traveled, he encountered numerous dangers, but Medusa's head proved to be an invaluable asset. One of the most significant encounters during his return journey involved Andromeda, a beautiful maiden who had been chained to a rock as a sacrifice to the sea monster Cetus. Andromeda's plight was a result of her mother Cassiopeia's boastfulness, which had angered the gods. As Cetus emerged from the depths to claim its victim, Perseus intervened with bravery and quick thinking, saving Andromeda. Perseus, soaring above on his winged sandals, saw Andromeda in distress and decided to act. He descended swiftly, and as the sea monster lunged toward Andromeda, Perseus brandished Medusa's head. The creature, upon glimpsing the Gorgon's terrifying visage, was instantly turned to stone. The waves crashed against the newly formed rock statue, marking the end of Cetus's reign of terror. Andromeda, grateful for her rescue, fell in love with Perseus. Her parents, King Cepheus and Queen Cassiopeia, gave their blessings, and the two were married in a grand celebration. Perseus's heroism and the love he shared with Andromeda were testaments to his valor and compassionate heart. Return to Seriphus and the defeat of Polydex. After his marriage to Andromeda, Perseus continued his journey back to Seriphus, where his mother Danae was still at the mercy of King Polydex. Polydex, believing Perseus to be dead, continued his unwelcome advances on Danae, who remained steadfast in her refusal. Perseus arrived just in time to confront the treacherous king. Entering the throne room, he found Polydex and his courtiers gathered in arrogance and mockery. With a calm but firm voice, Perseus announced his return and presented Medusa's head. The sight of the Gorgons had turned Polydex and his followers to stone, putting an end to their tyranny once and for all. Danae was overjoyed to see her son return victorious. The kingdom of Seriphus celebrated the downfall of Polydex and the heroism of Perseus. Dictys, the kind fisherman who had rescued Danae and Perseus from the sea, was made king, bringing peace and prosperity to the island. Further adventures and heroic deeds. Perseus's adventures did not end with the defeat of Polydex. With Medusa's head still in his possession, he continued to perform heroic deeds, aiding those in need and confronting various dangers. His reputation as a brave and resourceful hero spread far and wide. In one such adventure, Perseus encountered a group of bandits terrorizing a village. Using Medusa's head, he turned the bandits to stone, freeing the villagers from their torment. His actions earned him the gratitude and admiration of many, solidifying his status as one of the greatest heroes of Greek mythology. The legacy of Perseus and Medusa. As his journeys came to an end, Perseus offered Medusa's head to Athena, who placed it on her shield, the Aegis, as a protective emblem. The aegis became a symbol of divine protection and power, embodying the duality of Medusa's legacy, both fearsome and protective. Medusa's story, though tragic, was one of profound transformation. From a beautiful maiden to a fearsome monster, her life was marked by the winds of the tides and the harshness of fate. Yet, even in death, her legacy endured through the heroic deeds of Perseus. Perseus's tale of bravery, divine favor, and love became one of the most celebrated myths in Greek mythology. Subscribe to Mythical Journey, and let's embark on this extraordinary adventure together. New videos every week.